Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of the Points of Articulation. My name's Dave and if you're new to the channel, welcome. Today I'm looking at the Hot Wheels Star Wars Starship Select Grand Admiral Thrawn's Chimaera. This is number 33 in the set and was released in 2025. The Chimaera actually has an interesting story in the new Star Wars canon. First, it was seen in Star Wars Rebels' third season episode entitled Iron Squadron, which I believe was released around 2016. Then, years later, after Rebels finished, it was seen in Ahsoka Season 1 in 2023. Not to give too much away, because I know some people didn't see it, Grand Admiral Thrawn is basically sent to another part of space that our regular heroes aren't familiar with. His ship heavily damaged, and while Thrawn is on this planet, they have to repair the Chimaera. And that's why this has all the gold paint on it. You can see it on the side here and on the superstructure. You know, I loved it in the show. I thought it was a very menacing looking ship, and I'll leave it at that. In Rebels and in Ahsoka, Thrawn's Imperial Star Destroyer is a Imperial 1 class ship. This vessel here just looks like a repaint of the original Star Destroyer that was released, which is more in line with an Imperial 2. I don't know, I kind of figured they would do a repaint. I'm not too upset about it, but you know what? We're going to open it up and see what it's all about. So you might be asking yourself, Dave, how come you have a Hot Wheels ship in the box? That's because I got a couple comments when I was taking my hiatus for college, and people were asking, how come I don't show the box? Open the box, and this box, and that box, and every box. So I'm like, you know what? You guys love the boxes, so I'm going to give you the boxes. So we're going to look at the box, open the box, check out the ship, talk about the paint, put it on a stand, compare it to some other pieces, and then we'll be done. So let's get started. All right, let's take a look at the box. Up at the top, we have 33. Then we have a nice diagram, pretty sharp. We have our Imperial symbol. Come down, we have Star Wars, our ship, which looks pretty good. I'm liking that paint. Then we have our little diagrams here, which look sharp. Looks like a Y-wing. Nice. Mattel, Hot Wheels, Starship Select, Chimaera. Looking good. For the side. Nice. Can't really see under the ship, but we'll get there. And on this side. That's cool. Okay, so in the show, like I said, the ship is heavily damaged, and only those 4 ion engines are operational. The other 3 are a little too damaged. So the fact that those are lit and those aren't, that's pretty cool. I believe the original Star Destroyer, it's the opposite with the paint. But we're going to double check that. Nice touch. On the back, we have Star Wars. Talks about the stand, which is pretty cool. Not a fan of the ball joints, but it is what it is. And then we have our other vessels. We have our Y-wing, Jedi Starfighter, Ahsoka's shuttle, and one of those prototype ships. I don't have any of these yet. Do you guys at home? Let me know in the comments below. Then we have, of course, copyright crap. Look at all this stuff in multiple languages. It's everywhere. And on the bottom, you guessed it, more copyright stuff. Look at all that. It's like the credits to a movie. Oh boy. Anywho, nice box, very detailed, very clean. So let's crack this bad boy open and see what's inside. All right, so open this bad boy. I'm not going to be gentle. I'm just going to rip it open. I don't keep my boxes. Pull this out. And we have all our components that drop off. So that's it for the box. There's nothing in there. Throw this out of the way. Bingo. Now this piece comes out. This is the stand. So it's kind of neat. It comes in a little box like this. But you open it up. Pretty cool. And we'll assemble this later. But you get your 2 pieces, the pylon and the base. Very nice. Put that to the side. Yeet that right in the garbage. And then we have our vessel. So this comes apart. And we get this cool background. with all different vessels on there. Looking sharp. Nice. Eat that. Then we have our ship. So, really eager to get this out. Oh, man. Sometimes they make these so hard to get out. There we go. Alright, going over the main parts of the vessel, we'll begin at the top. We have our bridge right there in the center. We have our communications tower right here on the top. 2 shield generators. Pretty nice. We have our superstructure and main body, which is covered with some beautiful line work. We have turbo lasers on the side, 8 in total, 4 and 4, which looks fantastic. And then on the sides going down, we have tons of ion cannons, turbo lasers, tractor beams, all that stuff. Even missile launchers. Some of the stuff we never even see in the show. It's just in video games and other type of cannon material. But really cool. In the aft, we have our engines, which looks fantastic. And right about there is where the trash comes out that we saw in The Empire Strikes Back. On the bottom, we have our main reactor, primary landing bay, and secondary landing bay. Some copyright crap as well, and 3 rivets holding it together. Now the back, that's die-cast metal. The front is like a heavy-duty rubber, almost like a hard plastic. But I get it, it's for safety reasons. But all in all, a nicely done ship. So now, let's get a closer look. Alright, having a closer look, we'll begin with the bottom of the ship. Now, I'm not going to spend too much time on this because I already basically reviewed the same mold. But we'll begin with the bottom. Here's the tip, the front. And we could see that the die-cast and the plastic, they tried to match it. More so on the top side, which we'll see later, but you could definitely see a difference. But the mold is fantastic. Right here above my thumb. That's pretty cool. And we have all the line work. Coming down, we have our rivet, our secondary landing bay, our primary landing bay, which is very detailed, as you can see. Actually really impressed. Now, you're not going to see like the actual landing bay or the crane in there, like that arm that comes out and grabs ships. But nicely done. For the top, we can see more sections that are nicely detailed. Coming down to the side. Copyright crap right there. Another rivet. Coming to the aft. Our reactor right here with the peg port for the stand. Another rivet. Copyright stuff right here. And we go right back up. And if I turn it like this, you can see all the details there, and that looks fantastic. Repaint or not. Pretty cool. Very nice. Like that quite a bit. Now, before we get to the top, we have our, I call it the trench, the sides of the Star Destroyer. There's some nice details in there. You can see everything's around it. Very industrial looking, which is what I like. But pretty cool. Right here we have protruding parts. That'll be a turbo laser. But nicely detailed. Coming right up to the aft. For the other side, again, beautifully done. And if I turn it this way, you could see how deep that actually is. So they did an excellent job with this. I think that came out quite well. Now, coming to the engines, we can see all the recessed areas here. All the shapes looking fantastic. They did an amazing job with this. Very good. I do like the aft section a lot. So looking at the top of the vessel now, we can see some great line work, beautiful molding. Again, the die-cast, the plastic piece, doesn't really match too well. But they tried. You can see some paint right here above my thumb. and the gold and black help it considerably. Coming down, you can see more detailing. Fantastic. We have some raised sections here, as you can see right there, and it looks great, especially when you get to the superstructure area. But coming down the side, see some beautiful line work. Our turbo lasers looking pretty cool. And then coming up to the aft, very nice. And one pass at the superstructure, which looks very detailed. You can see all these little nooks and crannies. They did fantastic with this. Pretty nice. The other side, let me turn it around. You can see that gold and black paint, which is funny because up close it doesn't really look too good, but when you pull back it looks pretty sharp. Coming on the side, there's turbo lasers, looking good. And we have our superstructure, which is amazing looking. And then to the aft, see all the detail in here. A little garbage chute should be right about there. And I don't know why I always love the neck with the bridge section. I think they detailed this one quite well. A little heavy on the paint here and there, but you know what? The ship's supposed to be all beat up and destroyed, so I'll take it. And it sets it apart from its counterpart, which I believe used the same type of paint scheme. Pretty cool. For the front, you can see all the detail in there. Our bridge, the sensors on the top, and the 2 shield generators. Looking fantastic. I think they did a beautiful job with this. What do you guys think? Let me know below. And that's everything I have to say about the mold, ×2. I tried to breeze through this quickly, but you know me, when I see something interesting, I have to talk about it because that's the name of the game. All in all, a nice mold, maybe not 100% accurate to the show, but pretty good. And what separates this from its counterpart is the paint. Now, before I put it on a stand and, do a 360 this bad boy on the turntable, I have to say, this right here, this is amazing. I was hoping that they would put this on the bottom, just like the Armada version had, and they did not let me down. This is very nice, very detailed, and I love it. It really is amazing, and Thrawn's ship wouldn't be Thrawn's without this symbol. Like, let's face it, it's gotta have it. So, all in all, pretty good mold. Let's talk about the paint. Alright, when it comes to the stand, we get a couple different pieces here. The first piece is our base plate. Now, it's pretty cool. We have Star Wars, Chimaera, the Imperial symbol. On the bottom, it's just copyright crap. Nothing to really write home about. And I love the gloss here. Very nice. Then we get another piece for the pylon. So, that just clicks in here. There we go. You hear that snap, you're good to go. And then you have a ball at the top, which can connect to your ship. So we'll get the Chimaera here, place it in like so. There's no snap or anything with this bad boy. And there you go, looking good. And now looking at the paint, we have about 7 different colors here. The ship itself has a nice base plastic of a pale gray. Then we have light gray, black, gold, dark gray, blue, and also white. All these colors work very well with the ship, especially from a distance. Also, while looking up the paint, I did look at the engines in the show, and yes, the 4 engines should be blue because the 3 main ion engines aren't functioning that well. So, good attention to detail. For the length of the vessel, it comes in at 4.96 inches or 125.9 millimeters. And finally, for its weight, it comes in at 4.65 ounces or 131.8 grams. And for a quick size comparison with Grand Admiral Thrawn's Chimaera seen in the center, I have it next to two other Hot Wheels Star Wars Starship Selects vehicles. First, on the right hand side, we have the Imperial AT-AT, one of the Hot Wheels' biggest models for this particular line, and one of the most detailed. Just look at it, it looks like the AT-AT. I think they did a fantastic job with that piece. And then on the left hand side, we could see the original Star Destroyer. Now, the Chimaera and the Imperial Star Destroyer are the same exact mold as I mentioned before, but just look how different they are, just because of the Chimaera's paint from a distance. Like, yeah, they're both Star Destroyers, but they look different. It sets them apart on the shelf, and I like that. These look fantastic. And that does it today for my review of the Hot Wheels Star Wars Starship Select Grand Admiral Thrawn's Chimaera. Again, this was number 33 in the set and released in 2025. For the mold, it looks fantastic. All those nooks and crannies, the landing bay, the engine section, the bridge module, everything's detailed as it should be, and I love it. There's only one problem with the mold. It's not 100% accurate. So, from a business perspective, I get it. Hot Wheels is going to try and make repaints to get money from their molds. It happens. If all you out there remember the 3-inch line of Hot Wheels Star Wars vessels that I reviewed on the channel, many of them were repaints. The Jedi Starfighter, the X-Wing. They made like 7 Millennium Falcons. They got to get their money somehow, I guess. But how could I make it better if I was in charge and had millions of dollars? A longer neck, bigger or different bridge module with a bigger comms tower. That's a good start. Besides that, you would have to redo the whole mold for the most part. And, if they did that, they would sell. You could say it's Darth Vader's Devastator. You could make one that looks like the Chimaera. Put the little, that awesome paint job on the bottom. You could do whatever you want. People would buy it. I would. They look awesome. And of course, you'll have your battle damage version too. So, you'll get your money back. Moving on from that, the paint, I think it looks good. Especially from a distance. You saw compared to the other vessels, it pops. It stands out, it looks different, and that's the name of the game. Now I could see some people would say maybe have a more metallic gold. That's an acceptable argument. I would probably side with you. I would like a more metallic look. Also, I believe in the show, the deflector dish on the starboard side was gold, but they're both gray here. Minor little nitpick. But on the whole, it's a great ship and the paint makes it pop, and that's the point. It looks good. Then we have that cool glossy stand with the insignia of the Empire and the name. I like it. Now, one thing before I end, I wanted to ask all of you, and I know I ask sometimes, but hardly anybody really answers me, these stands for these. Now, it's been a couple years since they started coming out. Do you guys see your ships, maybe drooping, hanging down, like the ball doesn't really connect that well anymore? Maybe there's not enough friction? Let me know, because sometimes if I have these on my shelf or something like that, they'll look like this, and then I'll come back and it'll be tilting like that. It's always something. I know that the Slave 1 had that problem for me personally. The Razor Crest is very heavy. I noticed that it does it more with the heavier ships. Let me know how your guys' collections are doing. If there's any dropping or drooping or tilting, because I would really like to have a conversation with you guys and see what your collection looks like now, since it's been 4 to 5 years since the line's been coming out. But anywho, that's all I wanted to say. So as always, thank you everybody for taking time out of your hectic schedule to watch my content. I greatly appreciate it, and I hope to see you next time. Bye everybody.